11 for the Blues, 3 in each 23 this afternoon who've also played at the highest level. Quality that's better than what the ladder position of these two clubs is. As we reach the halfway point of the Smithies VFL season, it spits up to one of those men in former Eagle, Xavier O'Neill. He puts it inside 50. Aquay, who was ill last week, has got work to do early. Davey off to Shield, puts the foot on the accelerator and has the class to match the speed. VFL game 6, sitting alongside 212 at the highest level. And you feel if the former Giant can get his body right, what an asset he could be at AFL level for the Bombers in the second half of their 2024 campaign. Tremendous start for the Dons.
Winning that centre clearance on the truck assist replay. Dom McQuay, you just need to be better than that. Early in the game, 2 hands, body line the footy. He went with it one-handed, opened the door for the classy Dylan Shield to hit the scoreboard.
Every ground's got its unique dimensions, Brownie, as the ball will zoom out from this centre bounce. There's barely a metre between the centre square line and the 50. If you can get out the front, it's happy days today.
Yeah, absolutely. Great ruck work there from the big man, Nick Bryant.
He's got another clearance. Here's Aquay getting another opportunity against Davey. Sweeping back is the pacey Billy Wilson. He goes to Moya. Moya around the outer side of the ground. Haitley.
I'm expecting a more spirited performance from Lewis Young and Caleb Marchbank. They got taken to the cleaners, especially early last week against Johnny Jorgensen and Will Elliott. So their senior players down in that Carlton back line, they need to really stand up and show some physicality, win those one-on-one contests.
Murkov and Bryan gets to the back. El Hooley immediately tackled as we head down to Macca. Good afternoon, Andrew McCormack.
G'day, guys. Bit of greasy conditions down here. We've had a bit of rain this morning, all dry at the moment, but a bit greasy, so players will find it difficult with a slipper footy and slippery underfoot.
Thanks, Macca. Again, a watching brief for who's managed perhaps out of the Bombers camp this afternoon ahead of tonight as Hoare spins neatly. Hayes to Lowell. Chained by hand for the Bombers now, a launch into attack. Aquay will get a free fly, and Young was doing the job that you mentioned he wasn't able to do last week, Brownie, on that occasion on Vicentini. Aquay made Young work to mark that in the goal square. And now they've got the tricky camber of this pocket in front of the herd stand to navigate. Former Dog off the outside of his right. Motlop and McMahon, the flyers. Binns in the right spot. Lemmy will try and trap this on the half volley. It got big on him. Foley tapped it out. Shield happy to find the sanctuary of the line.
What do you want to see from Jesse Motlop this afternoon, Brownie?
He just needs to get busy. I think his work rate was slightly down last week. His best quarter was his last quarter when they threw him onto the ball to try and generate a bit of energy, but Carlton supporters wanted to see him buzzing around that forward line, getting to some front and square contests and hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah, he feels like a legitimate best 23 AFL player for the Blues. If he can get fit and find some form. Well, nice touch kick there from Archie Roberts. O'Neill, the skipper. Zantini set up long down the line. He'll head in that direction. Big pack under this one. March back across. That's a fantastic grab from Nate Caddy. And that is his strength. Big contested marks. He can split packs. Let's see him go back and launch this one from right on 50.
There we saw him debut in round 11 Dreamtime, and 10 disposals, couple of shots on goal, but that was a great contested mark.
His VFL debut for Carlton last season down at Williamstown. High kick towards the square. No one went except El Hooley. Defensive breakdown there from the Blues. And the Bombers have got the opening too. Great to have you with us on 7plus, live streaming our 7 VFL match of the day, our 7 Waffle and Sandful games also live every weekend and on demand during the week. All the best of State League footy from around the country, live and free on 7+.
Truck assist replay, you can see why he is in demand. Plucked from the Northern Bull Ants, and the key rule for a defender is if your man flies, you fly with him. All the Carlton defenders stood around looking, saying it's someone else's responsibility. A couple of great contested marks.
Hard game to play if you can't touch the footy. It's 21 possessions to 5.
Yep. And
Carlton have yet to have a handball.
And Essendon going at 90% by foot.
Skids out the front here for the Blues. Binns trapped the fend off on Shield. Sliced it forward. Hayes reading it well. Changes the shape from the back to the recent goal kicker and the former Bull Ant, Al Hooley. Scrubby ball. Brian up to the task with a very neat pickup.
It's just all too easy, though. Missed targets coming out of the back half. There's no pressure on the ball carrier. They're able to just find another target. This is exactly how they started last week.
23rd man, Ryan Brodie from Strathmore. Pinpointed Hoare to Lowell, who's been busy early. Casually off his left. Smart. Tackle lingered from Haitley on Binns. It'll be a Blues ball.
So Jackson Binns to play the first half and then head to the G as an emergency for tonight's blockbuster, which we'll see at 7-on-7. Binns delivers it low and flat inside 50, but in best position, Will Hoare. So as we said last week, Brownie, the Blues just need a bit of time in possession here to get themselves into the game.
Yeah, they couldn't get their hands on it at all. I know there was a 4 or 5 goal win at Preston City Oval last week, but
that wasn't the problem, was it?
No, it was just, it's a mindset and it's a work rate thing.
They coughed up 5 goals in 15 minutes to start the game last week and had to chase from there. That's a good grab from McQuaid. That'll give him some confidence.
Yeah, well, he's bounced back from that poor effort to set up the first goal for Dylan Shields. He's taken 2 really strong marks off opposition boot.
Plays on. Cuts inside. Chips it up. Monaghan will have to come from iron. Here's Hoare again. The Blues not really set up for the high ball in.
Again, that's just too easy. They need to compete harder in the air, every contest.
Will Hoare, top 10 in the league for intercept marks. He's had a couple early. Managed to get the kick the way of Caddy, who shoots deep. Davey was trapped behind Durden, who was laid out against the Ants last Sunday, to Marchbank, to Ramshaw. Now some overlap from the Blues. First time we've seen it today. Ramshaw receives back from Motlop, pokes it into the pocket. That's much better from Carlton. McMahon, the beneficiary.
Brilliant, wasn't it? Handball receives coming through the corridor. All of a sudden, McMahon, he can lead at the ball carrier. He can duck left, he can duck right. You have options as a forward. Terrific forward 50 entry.
27 for the season for Liam McMahon. He sits equal second in the Frosty Miller medal race. Goals in all 8 starts thus far, including a couple as the Blues tried to make a run last Sunday afternoon at Genis Steel Oval. For the Blues first. An important one against the flow for Luke Power's team. They'd had 5 possessions as the Bombers had kicked the first 2 goals. They've only had the 10 since, and most of those 10 came in that sequence that started with the Durden mark in defence.
So, Brownie, all of Carlton's tall marking power is in defence. Durden, the 2 youngs, Aquay, Marchbank. McMahon's the only marking player inside 50, so their entries have to reflect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the truck assist replay, he's a very, very reliable set shot at goal. So you want the football in his hands, and you want to get that drive and run and carry from the likes of Motlop, who's working nice and high, and Ramshaw, who was terrific last week.
Last week we saw the Blues throw Lewis Young forward in the last quarter for an extra marking option. Keep an eye on that again this afternoon. Ferronato inside 50. Any ball coming in high at the moment is going to be to the advantage of the Essendon defence. That kick from the well, not great. Binns his handball, not flash either. Ferronato will get another opportunity, pops it up. Lambert's got to fly against the taller opponents. Lowell, pressure came from Nelson and Ma took it to the line. So Lockie Young checks in for Murkov. And that'll allow Aquay to push into the ruck momentarily.
Undersized against Nick Bryant.
Because Lemmy and Murkoff are both off at the same time. Aquay won that tap and did it beautifully. Aquay, back to Lewis. Bends it back towards the top of the square. McMahon the only chance for the Blues. El Houli did it really well at ground level. Brian, well done Aquay. He pushed forward, made a difference. Will White gets on the end of it and the Blues get their second. Serendipitous, Brownie. Aquay went forward and ended up creating the goal.
Yeah, track assist replay, you can see why Luke Power doesn't worry about him going into the ruck, because he uses his athleticism, and the follow-up tackle here set up the goal for the sharpshooter in Will White. That was the turnover and classy finish.
Bit of a confidence booster for Carlton's second leading goal kicker this season. He kicked zip 3 last Sunday against the Bull Ants. He rights the ship there, and we're tied. The Bombers kick 2 in the opening 4. Haitley threw that right in front of umpire Sam Ferguson, adjudicating with Luke Porter and Scott Simpson this afternoon. So they weren't in the game for the first 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes have been theirs. Visitors into attack again, and Lambert presents full-chested. It completes an awkward mark in the end.
It was important for the Blues last week. They struggled to get the ball in their hands. He was a guy that used it really well. And that was a... Did he hold it long enough? I don't think he did. Maybe premature whistle.
Late in last week with the omissions of Durden and Aquay. A good afternoon. He's kicked 5 goals in 4 matches this season. The former VFL Tiger and Dolphin. Kept it low enough, kept it straight enough, and Carlton have their first lead. No dump buttons on our coverage. The Blues putting together the inside 50s. That has flipped. They've now had 6 to Essendon's 4 in the match thus far.
Been a really good 5 minutes here for the Blues. Forward 50 entries, getting some bang for buck. They were very inaccurate last week, which probably ended up costing them the game. 6 entries, 3 goals straight.
Carosella watches on. He was swung violently Carlton's way in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Aquay again in the ruck, having an impact here. He's been the one that's really changed the dynamic of things for the Blues. Handball fed forward, now a chance for the Bombers. Davey got it off to Scott. Penetrating kick. Lewis Young drops back, takes the grab.
Just on the wrong page there, the connection between midfielders and forwards. They led up at the kicker. He went long to the top of the square and easy pickings.
Young goes in the Phillips direction. Haitley will come over the top. At ground level, past Binns. Roberts couldn't control it. Ferronato got it to Lockie Young. Mann had to stand and wait. Punch came over the top from Wiedemann. Hayes. Foley. Good pressure from Binns.
Essendon have not had an effective kick since the El Houli goal. Can you believe that?
That
What's
stage, I think it was
the last 10 minutes.
It was 21-5 at that point, wasn't it? Possessions.
So they've ramped the pressure up. You can tell they're turning the ball over, in particular in their forward half, the Blues.
Ramshaw Lemmy wanted a free kick for a hole. Nothing doing, and Will Hall.
They're the long kicks that go down the line that you just have to find a way to bring to ground if you're a Carlton forward.
Frontal pressure here from the Blues. Roberts forced back. Brody. McMahon got hold of him with both hands. And that's what you want your big forwards doing, having a ground presence.
Yeah, absolutely. Force Essendon lateral or backwards and hope that they miss their targets, which they have done on occasions this afternoon coming out of their back half.
Watch for Carl and Lambert getting creative here. Carl gets free. He'll get to the drop of the ball. He'll snap. Nostradamus areas.
Well, you picked it, Nudge. You were more across it than the Essendon defenders.
Take the PlayStation controller down to Blake Carosella. A little bit self-congratulatory, let's be frank.
It's fair, mate, it's fair.
Let's call it as we see it.
Doesn't always come off that way. So.
Self-feedback's the best feedback.
Nudge Stradamus.
There we go. Bailey Scott was the man that just got lost in traffic, and a truck assist replay. You cannot afford to give Ned Carl an inch. It's a bit of an indictment on the Essendon defender there that we were up here in the box and we knew where the ball was going to go and they didn't.
Murkov in the ruck against Byzantini.
Have to maintain touch and feel on your direct opponent when they're buzzing around stoppages like that right at the front of the teeth of goals.
Scott couldn't quite break through, but kept at it, received the handball from Paris, delivers inside 50. Ball hits the deck. Marchbank comes in, lays a tackle, make sure it doesn't spill out.
Been a good response here from the Blues. Critical of them in the first 7 or 8 minutes. They've bounced back hard on the back of pressure.
Murkov the tap. Ramshaw was the target, was Hellman not in possession. Carl thought about the advantage and then it was revoked.
Smart football. No point running into a wall of pressure when you can get some composed possession and look for a switch.
Some light rain starting to fall, Macca.
Light rain, we are expecting to clear, but it is going to be a greasy afternoon, I think. So this possession footy, while both teams are playing it, it might be difficult if this rain persists.
There's a note of you deal with it in your voice then, Jason.
No, sympathy, that was.
Was it?
Sympathy.
There's no sympathy from me as a man that spent some time on the boundary in the last few weeks.
Just no sympathy from you, full stop.
Nelson in front of the Bowls Club. 2-on-2 down the line. Hoare got to the front. Wiedemann was lurking as well. Brownie, try and get a look at the replay of the Carl goal before and identify who perhaps the offending parties were here.
Well, there was a little bit of switching going on, which is like what you want to see, but the responsibility goes for Bailey Scott to then inform Jackson Haitley, loud voice, switch, and don't accept the block.
Blues into attack again. McMahon flying, but Wiedemann at the front spot.
Great grab.
Sam Wiedemann. Short to Nico. Carl, clever handball on the boundary line. Monahan threw a boot at it. Not sure where he was expecting it to go.
They do that, the Irish.
Free kick comes back to Will White.
Always expect him to do the unexpected.
So then is it unexpected if you're expecting it? White inside 50. Top of the square again. McMahon's going to have to fly against a couple. Ball on the deck. Pressure from Monahan. Tries to keep it alive. Hayes, the beneficiary. Good pressure again from the Blues forwards. Keeps the ball locked inside 50. Hayes under pressure. Oh, sliding in there, but no contact mate below the knees from Bailey Lambert. Picked up by Phillips. He goes in the Lemmy direction, and the big man's got it.
Great forward pressure. Just kept the ball locked inside their forward 50. It was a fingernail there. It was a tap, a paddle, a slide from Lambert, and eventually they win the ball back.
Chance to kick their fifth after Essendon kicked 2 in a hurry to start the game. It's been all Carlton.
Tackles 10-3. That's been the standout.
5 in 11 minutes. could not have predicted it. There was no trend that was going to suggest Carlton could put this together.
Well, if you're prepared to do the hard work at the source, you get rewarded on the scoreboard. On the truck assist replay, great mark from Lemmy. Good to see him up forward after spending most of this season down back. But 10 tackles to 3, and that's been where the turnaround has been.
Started with Dom McQuaid, didn't it? That effort in the forward 50 just got them up and sparked. And they're pretty flat until then.
It's all it takes sometimes, just one person to turn the tide with an action.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I've been working with you blokes for 10 years. Brian and Murkov.
So now it's up to Essendon to identify all the play with Carlton, and one of their players needs to set the tone now, get the momentum back.
Motlop. Ferranato. Open 50. Runs to the arc. Winds up. It's not going to get there. Carl off his fingertips. Hayes tries to work him to the boundary line. Haitley under some pressure. Oh. Lemmy came in awkwardly and gives away the free kick.
It's just a case of Essendon players folding back and not really taking responsibility for any of the Blues across half forward then.
Haitley from deep in defence, working his way to the front with the most intent was Prout. So a re-entry to come for the Blues, who've kicked 5 in 11 minutes. McMahon to ground level White. Disciplined kick. Wanganeen went the fly rather than the punch. Ma scooped up McMahon. Back to Ma. The Blues can do no wrong.
Remarkable turnaround.
Well, the only thing missing right now is Luke Wilson without an arm, because no one saw this coming. Six goals since the 8-minute mark. We've got full ownership of this game now.
Well, McMahon's going to have to do that all afternoon. Just fly, bring the ball to ground, give his forwards a chance. Nice finish from Ma. They've been just uber efficient. 11 inside 50s for 6 straight.
So now the onus back on Essendon. We're talking about
Got to
Carlton.
win a centre clearance, Jace.
Yeah, talking about Carlton needing some time in possession to stabilise things. Well, it's completely flipped. Now it's the Bombers who need ball in hand. You can see what Brian was trying to do, take Murkoff's space away, but in the process ran past the ball and gave away the block. Ferranato's been dynamic early. Murkoff's kick is low, flat and
that's when you know you're going well, when the big ruckman Murkoff can deliver a ball down the throat of a leading forward. He initially gave a handball off because he didn't want to kick, as most ruckmen are told, but no pressure on the ball carrier here. Look, he's got no one coming at him to kick over the fingertips, and
that's been the difference early on. It was those blast kicks high to Pax because they were under some heat, Browning.
Lemmy looking for his second for the quarter now.
To keep things rolling for the Blues. From right on 50. The first miss of the afternoon.
This is quickly getting away from Essendon. Really important last 4 or 5 minutes of the quarter. They cannot afford to concede another here.
Harry Lemmy with 2 behinds last week. A little bit more ruck time of recent as well. Wanganeen with a good launch to the wing. Bounce over the top of Roberts. Motlop finds space and then spirals one. Lemmy versus Hayes. Hayes got to the front. Pounded it to Brody, who was then pounded in a Carl tackle. He gets moving. Lateral kick to Al Hooley. Deep in defence, and it feels like a number of chapters ago since he kicked the Bombers' second. Foley. Wide. Roberts against Young. Motlop inserted himself, got it to the Blues skipper. He hand passes to Prout. Good pressure from Davey. Skidding ball for Hayes, who toes it clear, but only momentarily. Motlop, a couple of Bombers to beat. He was up to the task. Roberts, you can hear the groan on Ferranato.
Much more energy.
Brody down just
around.
adjacent to this contest as well. The young bomber in just his second game, local product from Strathmore, is feeling the effects of that contest.
Good energy for Jesse Motlop around the footy, and they're doing a good job shutting down the exits. Blues.
Bombers just need a mark, don't they, to be able to hold up the play and compose themselves, but they can't find one. Carl tackled when not in possession. Low and flat, and that's perfect. Not sure it was the intention, but it's hit Will White lace out.
Yeah, it was a really good kick because it was low and flat, and it took the key defenders for Essendon out of the equation. Dylan Shields just with the one disposal. That was the opening 30 seconds of the game when he snapped that great goal. So he, along with the majority of the Essendon midfielders, gone missing.
The classy youngster Will White, been really impressive this season. And he's got 2 in the opening term. Really like the look of Will White. Something about him. 20 years of age. From South Warrnambool. Every time we see him play, he just looks like that old recruiting saying, nudge, of AFL traits.
He's having some sort of call. The truck assist replay, you can see Ned Carl, it just keeps it low and punches it to the dangerous part of the ground. But White's had 6 disposals, 2 goals, involved in everything.
Ned actually put his hand up to apologise for the kick, but it turned out to be perfect.
The kick was good. Any higher and it would have been spoiled.
Blistering performance from the Blues, who've kicked 7 in 17 minutes after the coldest of starts. Hately desperate to get it forward. Scott's hand pass. He'll follow up his own work. Missed the intended target of Roberts. To Foley. A rare entry inside 50. Vicentini has multiple Blues in flight to deal with. And Caddy's got them on the ground. Lewis and Prout see it out.
You see Lewis Young get thrown into the ruck.
So can Essendon turn the tide in some way, shape or form? Here's a look at the head knock, friendly fire between, looks like Paris and Ryan Brody. We'll get to Macca on that in a moment. Davey spins free, magical possession. The kick was up to it as well to find Caddy, who caught one behind the ear from White. Not enough to generate a 50, but it does generate an important shot at goal for the Bombers, Brownie.
A classy kick, wasn't it? Just out into the leading lane of Nate Caddy. Could be a 10-goal first quarter. What a treat.
Missed last week. Ill did Nate Caddy against the Hawks. He's back against the Blues and missing. Macca, an update on Ryan Brody's condition, please.
Yeah, well, the doctors actually came out to him and basically said, look, mate, come off. We'll just make sure you're right. He's just sitting next to him on the bench now. Actually took the mouth guard out just to count the teeth. Like Nate Caddy out at Sandringham a few weeks ago, but the teeth were all there. So he looks like he'll come back shortly.
Scott to Davey. This is Elwyn. Scurries away, gets to 45, attacks the goal face. Moya goes in the air. They don't kill it. Air swing on the line from Nico. Durden got one in the back, according to the umpire.
And Nico did all the hard work. A good bit of crumbing, just missed
Tom
the
Thomas,
footy.
the free kick against. Durden short to Aquay. So we hit the 28.5-minute mark. Blues would be happy to just take some time, sit on this 5-goal lead, which looked highly unlikely when they gave up the first 2. Lemmy has it slapped away. Ferranato, Moya, his handball back to Ferranato, missed the target. Good commitment from El Hooley, but it was really strong in the body from the Blue. Young, Moya, Aquay, they're retreating, they need a mark, and Lewis provides it to Durden. That's what Essendon have lacked in the back half today, Brownie, that opportunity to just take a mark and settle things down.
Yeah, the Blues had players just, they could feed the ball out the back and just release the pressure valve a little bit.
Moya to Young. They're still not outside 50, but they're doing it relatively comfortably, and now they get some overlap.
By Lewis to Ferranato, his kick low, shaded by the hand of Will Hoare, who's been one of the leading Bombers thus far, but he's had a lot of supply to deal with. Ferranato, meanwhile, a game-high 9 possessions so far, 3 inside 50s. 23rd man today for the Blues, who's also plying his trade in the Northern Football League in the green of Greensborough. Young and Bryan. Bryan with 2 hands. O'Neill, El-Houli with White to deal with. Coughs it up. Young to Nelson. Came free. El-Houli looks to get some pace going. Wilson tried to close him down. The kick will pitch at the 50. It's trapped well by Lewis to Phillips against one of his former sides. Lewis motioned out of it to Prout. Carefully with the instep to Young.
He's a classy player, Lewis. He was an absolute standout in the back 6 for the Blues last week.
Lewis Young again happy to just take time off the clock, which is right alongside him. Says 30.5 minutes. Bryan, maybe a chance to pump Essendon back inside and get them one last look. We have had 9 goals, as Brownie's mentioned, so the quarter will run 50, and that's going to help. That might be the opportunity they've been looking for. So Jesse Motlop gives it away. And a chance here for the captain, Xavier O'Neill.
Take responsibility. Umpire's taking you all the way to 40 metres out directly in front. Desperately need a goal. Haven't kicked one for 20+ minutes.
Critical kick for the Bombers, O'Neill. 45 out. Swing left, savagely.
Missed everything. Wow. Oh, it gives Essendon a chance to just hem the Blues in down one way here. Don't allow the switch. Force this long down the line.
Would have been the Bombers first since Saad El-Houli at the 4-minute mark after they kicked the first 2. Bryan on the 3rd bite, juggling attempt completed. He'll put them back into attack again. Eckersley jumps, Robert stays down, it comes free. Noah Davey can't finish it off, but that's their first score in 28 minutes of play.
Well, they've had some chances. Nate Caddy directly in front, Davey on that occasion. Very gettable goals late in this quarter.
They are hemming the Blues in, though. There's a sense of inevitability about a goal here, but it might go the other way.
Oh, Barrel.
Lemmy spots McMahon over the back. He's got Wiedemann out of position.
2 kicks.
And that is brilliant from Carlton. And that's going to hurt the Bombers, who have had all the play in the last 6 or 7 minutes. They've been much improved. And then 2 kicks. And really smart heads up from Harry Lemmy.
You don't often see that in modern football, where we always say they overpossess, but long kick out. Smart from Lemmy as well to identify that all the space was out the back. He just needed to get hold of a barrel that travelled a little bit further, and it gave McMahon a chance to be able to use his body.
Chance to kick his second. This really would be a body blow. Bombers have been so good the last 6 or 7 minutes down the other end, but haven't been able to find the middle. Fortunately for them, McMahon misses left.
He'll be disappointed with that, McMahon. Beautiful set-shotted goal, usually. It's going slightly right to left down that end.
21-8 now for him this season.
Will Hall, who was outpointed in the Lemmy marking contest to generate that chain with the launch. Caddy, Aquay the Flyers. Well, if you're only as good as your last 2 quarters, Carlton would be VFL flag favourites. They won the last quarter at Preston last Sunday by 30 points.
That's certainly one of his attributes, and it's good to see them bring their strengths to the game.
Thanks, mate. Let's get up to the coach box. Cheers.
Thanks, Macca, with Luke Power. Second quarter, thanks to Max's Tyres. Looking for a response now from Essendon. Dylan Shield had a good touch early, but hasn't touched it since. At the back for Davey. He has a flying shot at goal. That's the start the Bombers were looking for. Lovely finish from Jaden Davey.
So 2 of Essendon's 3 goals have come at the 21 and 17 second marks of the quarters. Just can't quite get the opposition to throw the white towel in at that stage.
Oh, it's a simple game sometimes. We can see here on the Maxis Tyre replay, Brian just real physicality in the air, get the ball going your way, and a classy finish. Jaden Davey, that's his 8th goal for the year. Couldn't have asked for a better start in the second term.
Now to sustain it is the challenge for Blake Carousella's side. Brian in the ruck, Murkoff. Oh, boat hanger from Shield on Motlop. Multiple targets rushing in the adjacent lane. Motlop just puts it to Monahan. It got through his hands.
He's putting himself in good spots, isn't he, Motlop? It's his second free kick this quarter, coming up for disposal, number 7. Chance to kick a goal.
His 3rd game back as he works his way through toe and hamstring ailments. A goal in round 9 against the Suns. 8 touches, 6 tackles last week. He's been much more of a presence so far this afternoon. And that continues with that strike. He's a player we just naturally expect and accept will be in Carlton's AFL team at some point with health. 24-7 in the AFL last year from 21 games. 2 in the semi-final win over the D's. He'll be more than handy back in their team.
You can see the free kick here. Motlop never takes possession of that football, so clearly our free kick as Archie Roberts just continued on with the tackle, and a nice finish. We highlighted him at the start of this game, that they need to see a little bit more out of him. 8 disposals last week. Good to see him getting some midfield minutes.
Murkoff the tap. Hately tackled by Motlop. Ball spills for O'Neill. Now Shield. Lovely. Almost pick up from Brian. Did the hard work, then slipped out of his fingers. Shield on the bottom of that pack, scrapping against 3 Blues. Murkoff and Brian go again. Brian the tap. Moy turns tackler on Peris. Ball flipped out the back. Brian. El Hooley, nice step. Gets him past Ramshaw, but Moy smothered. Back to Ramshaw. He goes down the line. Carl's the target. Good defensive work there from Tex Wanganeen. So Metcalf looking a little sore. He looked sore after he hit that kick in the first quarter and sort of followed through awkwardly and came to the bench soon after, and certainly had a hobble up then.
It was a tackle where he was folded back a bit in that mechanism that is sometimes knees, sometimes ankle syndesmosis. He's out there for now. Brian, out of his fingertips, pressure on Moyer. Hately missed it. Carlton will try and lock it down. Ramshaw just muscles his way free, takes territory. Wanganeen with speed, but then indecision. Carl flips it forward. White against Llewell. Shoved out. Carl goes off the ground across. Motlop against Wanganeen. Bins. Flip the hand pass. The creative Carl to the equally creative White. The kick back through Hayes. Door ajar if he can pick it up for Monahan. How's that Sharon going for you, Rob? White. McMahon, the snap was instinctive. He's got a pair. And the fun continues for the Baggers. Brownie, as the eventual McMahon goal rolls through on the Maxxis Tyres replay. Let's put the focus on the Bombers and how they change what's happened in the last couple of weeks. A 10-goal loss in the Dreamtime curtain raiser to the Tigers. 82 points here last Sunday to Box Hill. Where's the momentum shift come from?
They've got to be better at the source, and just they're getting pressure thrown at them at the moment, and they're not handling it well. Fumbling, missed targets. And that wasn't pretty football. Carlton just willed that forward and manufactured a goal out of nothing.
Brian, nice tap, timed his leap beautifully. Shield lost his footing. Motlop, Sockers inside 50. Well played from Brodie. Good to see he's recovered. El Hooley receives from Shield. Another difficult one for Brian. Did really well to go down and pick it up. Out to Llewell. He mishits the kick, and that's a good fingertip mark from McQuaid.
He's kicked poorly this afternoon, Llewell, coming out of the back half. It's his third turnover.
McQuaid to Lambert, who's generally a good user. Takes the easy option here to the solid Michael Lewis.
They haven't been great with their ball security this afternoon, and they've got their hands on it okay, but they've coughed it up a lot, especially in their back half.
McMahon's going to have to fly against a couple, and El Hooley chops him out.
He's good in there, isn't he? And it's going to be 50. This time it's going to be on Will White.
For 185, he plays a little taller than that.
Yeah.
Saad El Hooley.
No one's on the mark, so he can take another 15.
Gets to 55. Chips it inside. Caddy got both hands to it, couldn't quite haul it in. Scott, Roberts, Shield receives from Foley. Good pressure from Prout. Once again, the Blues force a turnover. This is Binns.
Layers of pressure coming from the Blues this afternoon.
Turns it over. Davey cuts it off.
Elwyn Jr. glances inboard.
So that 5 or 6 seconds that he's wasted now has allowed all the Blues mids to fold back.
Chipped, wanting Scott.
That kick needed to go inside their forward 50 straight away from the turnover when Carlton defenders had all fanned off and there was space everywhere.
So Phillips to Lewis Young. Reading it best was Llewell, who couldn't make an impact on the El Hooley marchback contest that results in a free kick for the mid-season rookie draft acquisition. He cuts the kick away from Smart. Paris, Scott ran straight at Prout. And Carlton are giving Essendon nothing. Logan Prout wide, McMahon hunting up, slides down, takes the mark. They've got options everywhere.
Logan Prout doing some great work in the back half for the Blues. 16th game, really settling in at this level, isn't he, Brownie?
Certainly. He looks nice and composed. Good defends well when he needs to.
Brian almost. Essendon fans wanted the mark paid. Umpire said not held for long enough. Here's Hayes up and under. Marchbank will take it. Quick kick to Brownie's point at the other end. Get it moving before the opposition defence can set. Now it's Nelson who holds. It's getting very dark here at Windy Hill. He just chips it towards the square. Paddled away from Lambert, taken by Roberts. Quick kick will be good. It'll work for Jaden Davey.
Now's the time to go slow because there's no one really to kick to.
Punches it down the line. Lewis Young at the back. Well done, Visentini. Created the contest. Spillage for Elwyn Davey. Runs to 50. There's Proud again. Did enough to force him to release the football. Still there for the Bombers. Putting the head down and trying to bust through was Paris.
He's got leg speed, Proud, doesn't he? Mowing down Davey then just forced him to retreat and help turn the ball over.
Mentioned his 16th VFL game, Jace. He does come to the level with 2 Goulburn Valley Football League premierships and a Chuka under the belt. So been playing in one of our better country leagues. Paris, again, head first. Billy Wilson down for the Blues. Caddy wasn't expecting it and then couldn't make the most of it. So 2 goals to 1 in the quarter in favour of the visitors, who kicked 7 unanswered goals in 18 minutes to flip this game on its head from what we saw in the first few minutes.
Kicking straight up the middle. That's perfect to Phillips. And the Blues have cracked them open through the middle of Windy Hill. Nelson's kick. Efficient again to McMahon. He can go back and have a shot.
Undefendable, that. There's nothing you could possibly do to try and stop that. Beautiful kick straight up the middle.
Durden's kick in was perfect, and that's 50.
That's a gift. McMahon can go back and kick his third.
So that's twice in the game, Brownie. We saw it in the first term, the long kick, and then Lemmy's barrel. Twice the Blues have basically gone end-to-end with 2 kicks.
Yeah, it's poor setting up from a kick-in from Essendon to allow that kick straight up the middle. That's the last place you want to be able to concede.
McMahon for goal number 3. Chips it through.
He's having a feast, McMahon, this afternoon. 3 goals, 1. This is the 50. And
Archie Roberts.
yeah, well, he didn't run.
No, but 5
Through
metres,
the mark,
5 metres behind
yeah.
the mark is still protected zone. So you can't go within 5 metres behind the mark either. And obviously he cut well
cut
inside
through.
that.
Liam McMahon with 3 for the 3rd time this year. His season high of 4. Coming against the Seagulls in round 8. There's plenty on the table for him. We've almost got the roof on here as Haitley gets out the front of the stoppage and misses to the left. Jackson Haitley's warming into his first VFL season. 6th in the league for inside 50s, and some of that prowess on show there, but he couldn't finish the dose. The margin is at 40 points. Young. We heard the whistle. It was spotted a long way out, and Wiedemann's free kick in preference to Lemmy. Went back and forward last week, Sam Wiedemann. It could be a similar dose again. Neat use onto the chest of Eckersley.
Getting a few opportunities in the last few minutes. Caddy with a missed shot. Haitley streaming out of the middle with a shot at goal through the 50, and they just haven't been able to capitalise.
Gold Coast Suns premiership player last year. He's been more a forward in his time with the Bombers thus far. 6-3 in 9 matches.
That's nice.
More than nice. Plenty of people needing to adjust the contrast on their television here right now, because it is getting seriously dark in a storm brewing kind of way. We'll get to Andrew McCormick in a moment.
Very classy finish. Great kick into the space there for Wiedemann on the Maxis Tyre replay. Good forward presentation and even better execution from Eckersley.
Couldn't hit that kick any better. Andrew McCormack, he put on the miners light down on the boundary line. It is getting dark.
It has got very dark down here, and Dylan Shield just finished getting a rub down on the calves on the bench. Just 2 disposals. Xavier Marr wearing him like an absolute glove wherever he goes today.
Bailey Scott. O'Neill. Thomas from 50. Gives it some height. A push. Going the way of the Blues. Have to get back to the 9.
We need a couple of clearances, though. Coming straight out the front of the centre clearance on the last 2 occasions, Essendon giving themselves some good opportunities forward of centre.
As Nudge mentioned, it is a short ground here. 50's almost touched the centre square, so if you can come out of the front of the centre break, you're well on your way. Phillips scrapping on the bottom of that pack.
To win those centre clearances and drive it inside forward 50, at least it gives you an opportunity to lock the ball in your forward half, like Essendon have been able to do on the last couple of occasions.
Yeah, much better patch of football here from the Bombers. Ferranato taken down. Just seeming to get more numbers to the contest now, Essendon. In general play, they've evened things up. A little bit like the Blues last week, though, against the Bull Ants. You give the opposition a 5-goal head start. They're going to have to do more than match them in general play to work their way back into it.
So margin at 34. It was 30 at quarter time. 3 goals apiece to the sides in this quarter. Ferranato went in for Moyer and gets it back. Kicks it into a bomber in Toma. Came off his feet towards Wilson. And incidental inside 50 that might end up in a goal. The Davey brothers combine. Jaden copping a high one. The umpire in the right spot to put it his way. Just both started to have a bit more of an involvement in the game in this quarter. We saw Alwyn with a couple of thrusts inside forward 50 before. Jaden kicking the Bombers' first goal of the quarter, 17 seconds in.
Yep.
And he kicks this, and suddenly, for all of the Blues' dominance, we're sub 5 goals. Bombers loved it off the boot. Jaden Davey with 2. So a shift of sorts. Bombers with the last 3 inside 50s, generating a couple of goals and a couple of clearances, as you noted as well, Brownie.
Yeah, certainly a much better 5 or so minute patch. You can just see that tackle just slipping a little bit high. Jaden Davey certainly making sure the umpire noticed. Max's Tyree play, he's bobbed up and kicked a couple of opportunistic goals in this second term to keep Essendon in it.
And working their way back well, as you can see there from the inside 50 count. Had 8 of the last 10. It's been a great response from Essendon. 28 points, much more manageable. And tracking in the right direction with plenty of time still to play in this second term. Carl goes off the deck. Bouncing football again. It's the Bombers who'll get there first. Brody receives from El Hooley. Wilson with the spoil. Off the hands of Carl. El Hooley follows up again. Nicely done by Scott. Nowhere to work, though. Had 3 to beat. Oh, Blue went down. I think it's Ferranato.
Both players went low and hard at that contest.
Hayes, Vizentini, O'Neill. If the ball gets any closer to Christian Ferranato, the umpire may need to stop play. Fortunately, it's heading in the opposite direction. Handball from Wilson was smothered. Came back to Ramshaw. He spirals it towards half forward. Lemmy comes out. Here's Motlop. Some open space. Does he go himself or chip? He chips over the top. Makes a certainty of it. Bins open goal.
Got a stinger by the looks of it, Ferranato.
Yep.
The network's already got a Dr. Brown, by the way, just letting you know.
C. Brown too. Now this is the contest on the wing. 2 players getting nice and low. Ferranato coming off second best. A little bit of rib and shoulder, but he's back to his feet and okay. Terrific play there from Motlop, who's really injected himself into this contest, and unselfish football.
Jackson Binns, 8 touches and a goal. He's 10 minutes away from a shower. And a drive to the MCG is the carryover for the Blues tonight, ahead of somewhere north of 90,000 expected at the MCG as Essendon and Carlton clash on King's birthday eve once again. Jaden Davey has got a couple. Eckersley, a goal kicker in this quarter. Not enough on it. Wilson, not the required 15. He had time, space, and the decision-making required to find Lambert. Young, tight against the line. Marchbank wasn't quick enough, but perhaps masking what he wanted.
Great ruck work from Nick Bryan too. He's been masterful.
Perhaps a bit stiff by virtue of the fact that Todd Goldstein is back. He did have 15 possessions and 20 hitouts this time last Sunday against the Gold Coast Suns. Blake Caracella coaching against his Brisbane Premiership teammate Luke Power this afternoon. At the moment, bragging rights with Power. Marchbank didn't have eyes on the footy. Hoare, who's slid forward after being so impressive in defence. O'Neill to Haitley. Pushed as he kicked. Al Hooley and Smart there for the Bombers. Al Hooley was the one with perhaps the most intent in the air. It's Smart on the ground. The Blues have him. As Bailey Scott from the Bombers joins us. Bailey, do you feel like there's been a little shift back your way in the last 10 minutes? And if so, what do you put it down to?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Blues coming out hot. Their contest stuff's really good and their heat's really good. So, message is to get that contest back. That's our bread and butter. Need to win on the inside and then let's get it to the outside and go. So I think without even that up, just tidy up the edges and we'll be right back in it.
How have you found the adjustment stepping up from playing in the Geelong Football League this year?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Just learn something new. It's a lot faster, a lot more physical. So, yeah, always learning and loving it.
Bailey, with the 22-minute mark upon us, we'll let you get ready for one last go at it in the second quarter. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Bailey Scott joining us on a headset. Really appreciate the access that the clubs give us here on our 7 VFL broadcasts. Smart, the handball inboard. Can the Bombers find another one here? Vicentini went to ground. Motlop did the same on Haitley. And the Bombers will get a look at a 6th and to bring the margin again back inside 30.
Another free kick in front of goals. We just saw Jaden Davey get one for high contact. You can see here in the replay, Motlop just running past the ball, making some contact that probably didn't need to make. Jackson Haitley, who's been terrific this afternoon, gets a chance to go back and keep the Bombers in it.
7 touches in this second quarter for Haitley. A skipping approach to kick his 8th of the season and keep Essendon afloat.
Max's tyre replay, you see it again. Just that contact from Motlop. They've tackled well this afternoon. Their pressure's been sky high, but just in the last 5 minutes, they've been their own worst enemy, Carlton. Just infringing, allowing Essendon, who have just been first at the footy, getting their work rate back up.
Torrin Baker watching on alongside Luke Power. Not concerned, but certainly consideration about what Essendon have thrown at them through the middle part of the quarter. From the cricket wicket, Motlop bounces it over the head of all and sundry. Carl at the back. Wanganeen halves an all-important contest.
Great smother from Rob Monaghan, diving across the boot. That's commitment.
Good response from Essendon. The Blues have managed to just kick a goal or two against the flow and keep the Bombers at arm's length. Looking for another one here. Bryan at the front against Murkov. Lowell slaps it away. Ball still in dispute. Nelson lays a tackle. Well in there working again against Nelson. Comes out to Ma. Up and under. Won't go the required distance. Carl versus Bryan in the air. Ball flips off Lemmy. Picked up by Nelson. Snaps goalward and misses left. Nelson, former Coburg Lion. So as we hit the 25-minute mark of the second term, 7 VFL's match of the day, part 1 of our Super Sunday with the Essendon Carlton blockbuster at the G tonight from 7 p.m. Prout back inside 50. Tackle late on Brodie, nowhere to go at all, and on.
Might have had an opportunity to just handball that ball out. We taught a lot as a footballer not to cough the ball up in your back 50, in particular late in the quarter, and stricter interpretations there of holding the ball has cost him. Right there, he might have just been able to even drop it, and the umpire might have called play on, but
Gee, it seemed red hot.
Was. We saw a few of those last night as well.
Rob Monahan thought about giving it off to Durden, and Durden said, no, you go back and kick it now. I'm not going to pump Rob up.
No, we did that at Princes Park.
Last time I did that, it hit the top of the building at 45 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
There's no chance here, Monahan. Try the reverse commentator's curse. From 48 metres. Off the hands of Lemmy. Throw in the pocket.
He's a beautiful long kick, the Irishman. But
power, doesn't he?
He just he didn't get any part of that.
His first VFL goal, 50 out, Good Friday against North Melbourne. It was never missing.
Gets onto them, he can really launch. Murkoff's tap, spinning through Marr. Well done, Llewell and Bailey Scott. Interesting first half it's been, swinging momentum.
Dylan Shield just with the 3 disposals. Marr got the job on him.
4-2 to 4-1 in the quarter. Nelson from knees to feet. O'Brien spins, shins, out on the fall. And that's in a kickable spot for Heath Ramshaw if he wants to take the responsibility with the greasy footy late. You'll see a feature on the Blues number 51 as we head to the halftime break. You can play him with the mark back, put it to the square. McMahon, hand on it in flight from Brian. As Mars taken to ground by Brodie. Good to see him recover from the contact in term 1. Had 9 touches and 5 intercepts in his debut as the Bombers' 23rd last Sunday here against the Box Hill Hawks. Foley comes free from Motlop. Bombers can clear. Sort of front half of they got assembled. Vicentini, Tomar. Looked high perhaps from Lewis Young, but we'll have a stalemate at halfway. So 29 the margin. Bombers winning the term by the slightest fraction.
Murkoff and Bryan continued their battle. Both had the same idea. Phillips tried to flip it out. Bryan, El Hooley. Toma comes through. Tackle affected the kick. Wilson went down, found the football. Back to half forward, one-on-one, Lawal and Carl. Swooping in there was Brodie. Shield. Looks for an option in the middle. Gets past Davey. Speed of Foley. Ramshaw there to hold him up. Young. Aquay. Phillips had to stop and wait. Handball over the top's going to get picked off. Good pressure here from the Bombers. O'Neill launches from 65. One-on-one. Caddy versus Durden at ground level. Lewis Young first back. Good pressure, Davey on Durden. Flips a handball. Vicentini runs into Aquay.
Oh, great tackle.
Full-chested tackle from Aquay. Moyer comes in as well. Good scrambling defence from the Blues.
Yeah, ball and all tackle there from Dom Aquay. He's executed his tackling fantastically this afternoon.
The Bombers with 3 of the last 4. We've had 6 goalless minutes since Haitley with the most recent major. Shield, Ramshaw. Umpire was in the right spot to make a call.
He's pleading for an over-the-shoulder free kick, but I thought it was the right call by the umpire. They'd love to pinch one here, Essendon.
Sam Ferguson, 23 on the boundary side, but Luke Porter was central and had the perfect angle to make that call. Free kick. There's a bit happening off the ball.
And they've called it.
Binns and Alwyn Davey are going at it right against the fence. Opposite. Ramshaw now in for company as well.
It's on the fence, left forward, right forward flank at the 50.
One of Jackson Binns' last interactions in the game is likely to be the skirmish that now breaks up. And they're running away like the parents have come out from the kitchen and said, get off the lawn. Carlton, meanwhile, with ball in hand, as they've had for much of the game. White has been pivotal. He's got options such as Wilson short. See Wilson just guarded behind the umpire. White goes deeper. Lemmy, Monahan, Shield. His kick glides to Wanganeen, who paddled, as did O'Neill, who wore one from Brout. We've seen free kicks with a lot more in them not paid. Bombers will take it. It'll be Shield.
What do you think of that one, Campbell?
Well, I thought it was just a well-executed hit to a player that he was open and vulnerable, but it was nothing illegal.
Free kick going to Toma.
Sometimes as a player, you know it's going to come when you leave yourself open like that, and you just got to wear it. It certainly didn't look like a free to me, but again, Essendon keep pressing. Big pack mark here would change things going into half-time.
Toma launches it. Durden over the top with the spoil. Past Phillips. Going the other way, Monahan. Caddy underneath it, ripped off it. Prout gives it up to Shield. Wilson does well, somehow emerges. White's got to be quick. Just got boot to ball. Affected the kick. To the advantage of Wiedemann, first back. He could turn, look, assess the option. Hit the short one to Haitley. Next in line is Toma, who's really starting to get busy. Good build up here from the Bombers. Peris, 65 out. Marchbank comes across the front.
Yeah, he's well protected in the air as well by Lewis Young.
It's the only thing missing from the Bombers at the moment of forward contest. Marchbank to Durden on the bounce. To Mark. Marchbank flies out to his right. Tries to pinpoint Nelson and does. Despite late pressure from Nyko. Nelson to Marchbank. The Blues, you feel, are putting the cue in the rack. McMahon, the obvious down the line. He'll tangle with Hayes and outpointing, and we're one high. Wanganeen almost giving away the 50. Young might reverse it. He does. That's not what you need from your captain late in the second quarter when you've got the long down the line mark, and then that happens. Liam McMahon, meanwhile, will be walked to the bench. So
Lockie Young making the point. Well, hey, how do you reckon he got his nose busted?
Yeah.
But to be fair,
there's not much in that.
well, still the reversal though, Brownie. That's the point, isn't it?
Do you want to reward the bloke that's just clubbed someone in the head and then flops?
Wanganeen wanting Caddy. Marchbank tackled.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's Lockie Young's argument, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. And
It's
the umpire
easy.
saying, well, it's 50, mate.
It's easy for everyone else to say, like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. But in the heat of the moment, when you see a player, one of your teammates with blood splattered across his nose from the late.
Mark and free kick, almost a package deal. Anyway, Lambert darts it forward. No one ahead of this ball. Wiedemann coughs it up to Nelson. There's Blues forward now. Motlop just has to be clean. He is. He snaps. And right on the siren, Carlton. Still one.
He's been great, Motlop.
An electric opening half from the Blues. Ruck battle between Bryan and Murkoff has been fairly even thus far. Murkoff got the knee in, but Bryan with two hands. Shield, as he did in the first quarter, involved early. High rainbow from O'Neill. Caddy!
He's brave in the air, isn't he? That's the hard part. Now he just needs to go back, take his time and convert.
So do we see this script repeated a third time? Dylan Shield, 21 seconds into the first. Jaden Davey, 17 seconds into the seconds. And bar the time elapsed for Caddy to line this up, a similar amount here. Essendon get the right start to the second half. Courage in our game comes in many forms, but courage in flight, perhaps the bravest of them all, Brownie.
Yeah, and he's shown that right through his junior career and certainly multiple occasions this afternoon. He's got great hands.
Certainly the strength of Nate Caddy's game, Brownie, just launches himself at anything, sometimes to his own detriment. Fractured his fibula last year, hurling himself into a pack, and then hurt his back this year, but when the ball's in the air, he just sees it and goes for it.
Yeah, super brave, isn't he? And the Crown replay just goes to show he did not take his eyes off the footy, and that's the second big, strong pack mark that he's taken this afternoon.
Well, Macca, I'm no weather expert, but that doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't, but the radar is clear, so I think whatever we get here will slowly blow over.
Trusting your eyes
really
or the radar, Andrew?
Yeah, I wonder why that is. But no, I don't think we are going to get too much, but it is really dark, really greasy. Good to see quite a number of fans here. Obviously, will make the journey to the G tonight.
Another great centre break for the Bombers through Shield. Perez picks up the football, flings it over the top. Shield didn't know it was coming his way. Mara fumble. Visentini tries to stand up, but Aquay takes him down.
Well, 2 centre clearances. Dylan Shield, the senior player in there, getting the job done. Terrific tap ruck work as well from Nick Bryan, who's been great all afternoon.
As we've said repeatedly, you can score quickly here on this ground if you can get clean takeaways out the front of the contest. Davey twisting, turning, not easy to get away from Motlop. He knows all those tricks. Fly on the top.
Again.
Caddy again.
Deja vu.
All over again.
Wow. So, Davey just with a quick kick to the top of the goal square, and Caddy, Nate Caddy, you can understand why Essendon were just so keen to pick him.
Directly in front for 2 in 3 minutes. Here come the Bombers. Margin back to 23 points. Perfect start for them and for Nate Caddy.
Well, it's exactly what Blake Carosella would have asked for. A couple of really quick goals, win some clearances. Again, just eyes only on the football and the Crown replay, and all of a sudden, Caddy kicks a couple, and Essendon got their tails up.
Jaden Davey and Nate Caddy with 2 apiece for the Bombers, who have kicked 5 of the last 7 in this game. After the margin was in the vicinity of 7 goals. Bryan out the front again. Phillips gave it straight up to Bryan, who smacks it inside 50. Davey lurking out the back, just dreaming for it to come off the fingertips. A small forward just playing the percentages. If you can't be at the front, might as well be at the back. And Essendon have kicked 3 to start the second half.
A 35-point margin at half-time. You come out at three-quarter time dreaming of this start. 10 disposals, 3 centre clearances, 3 inside 50s and 3 goals.
Carlton have had 1 disposal in the first 5 minutes of the quarter. It was an ineffective kick to Tom Phillips. And in that time, the Bombers have gone bang, bang, bang.
Perfect roving there on the Crown replay from Davey.
Margin back to 17 points. They've halved the deficit in 5 minutes. Murkoff slaps it forward. An interesting game this has been. Massive swings in momentum. Now it's up to the Blues to try and turn things around. Motlop toe pokes, but only as far as Llewell. Steps through Phillips, releases a handball. Al Hooley runs to 55, delivers inside towards Smart, who gets a free kick.
And all of a sudden, the defenders back there for the Blues, Durden this time, starting to get nervous.
The Essendon faithful finding voice after a frustrating first half. Their side has come out with a blistering opening to the third term.
Another centre clearance, another great bit of ruck work from Nick Bryan. Dylan Shields involved again.
For 4 goals in 6 minutes. Smart snaps, not quite. Off hands.
Need another couple of inches.
Oscar Smart was in the mix in the mid-season rookie draft. Didn't play last Sunday against Box Hill. Having an excellent season in the VFL. Gets darker again here as Ferronato flew. McMahon dishes. Lewis coughed it up initially. Eckersley had the jumper. Motlop, can he get involved? Only with an ineffective kick. And Essendon can load the turrets again. Ryan Brodie with the kick. Fly available for Hoare, who got elevation. Where has this come from?
I'll kick it to Nate Caddy. He's the hot hand at the moment. He's gone deep to the top of the goal square.
Brian back there as well. Caddy now ducks in front of Durden. He'll get a flight this as well, as will Brian. Davey, Paris, got it! They're irresistible!
Oh, didn't see this coming at all. Jack Paris on this occasion doing the roving. Oh, again, a long kick to a dangerous spot. Good, strong contest from Brian, and Paris on this occasion staying down with the smart crumb. They can do no wrong.
4 goals in 7.5 minutes, and it's a 10-point game. Blues need to get their hands on the ball.
Got to win this centre clearance.
They've had 6 touches in this third term. Essendon have had 18 for 4 goals. Farinado does win this one. Ramshaw. Wilson under pressure, back to Ramshaw. First inside 50 the term, almost for the Blues. Well done, Wanganeen. Motlop arrives to put some pressure on. Davies handball, made life a little difficult. He'll come back and support again. Ramshaw will try to take him to ground. Davey kept it alive. Kicks inside 50 and Smart. He's got Caddy in the pocket. Instead, he'll go in the other direction. That's a really smart kick, and we'll get a look here. The goal kicking of Saad El Houli.
Young Smart, who hasn't played a lot of VFL footy, just game number 7. You can panic and want to move that ball on too quickly to your own detriment, but he thought his way through that beautifully. He had multiple options, and he chose the right one.
He resisted. Smart kick. I'm impressed. So Saad from immediately directly in front. From right on 50 for 5 goals in 9.5 minutes. This is something else from Essendon.
So El Houli's goal comes 9 minutes and 33 seconds into the quarter. Caddies went through at the 42-second mark. If you then take out time, a minute between each bounce, and the 30 seconds that Caddy and El Houli have taken to compose themselves for the set shots, this is incredible.
Well, Tex Wanganeen's the guy that started this on the halfback, Frank. Look at his effort on the Crown replay. The paddle, the follow-up. He wins the ball back here. And just an outstanding bit of work. Jaden Davey as well gets involved with that little hack kick forward, and then there were options everywhere, but Tex Wanganeen winning that 50-50 ball created something out of nothing for Essendon.
2 for El Houli with a Dersma-like celebration. 5 goals in less than 9 minutes. Take out a minute between the bounces. 30 seconds for Caddy and El Houli to line up their shots. This has been quick as a flash.
Could use a flash.
Yeah, it's getting dark, isn't it?
There are people in the vicinity of Napier Street who want to come around and turn their lights on their cars. It would be helpful. What you can see in your TV screens is a lot lighter than what we've got to work with as Durden puts it inside 50, but that'll only be for a stitch in time as Wiedemann with the intercept. Smart needs to fly and get body on Marchbank. He did, but Lewis is there. Ramshaw, a hand in was clever from Toma. Bombers go out the back door. Brodie to Lowell. Eckersley took on the Ramshaw tackle. Brodie's got work to do still. Space to work in on his right. Over one head to Haitley. Goes looking for Scott. Grabbed it, ran away. And there's runners aplenty right now for Blake Carousella's team. Peris, who's been part of the action, got it from the well, forces forward to Smart to give the Bombers the lead. He's being held by Durden. El Hooley got a fist to it. Caddy, the hot hand in this quarter. He wriggles free to Foley, hunting forward, snaps El Hooley marks. And Essendon, remarkably, could hit the front here with El Hooley's third goal.
As the rain comes, so Macca down there on the boundary. How long's this going to last? But El Hooley lining up for goal number 3.
The margin was 35 points 12 minutes ago. Essendon lead.
Oh, what are we seeing?
And Saad El Hooley is looking like some good end of financial year shopping. Pick 13 in the mid-season rookie draft, has 3 goals in his second outing as a Bomber.
They've doubled their goal tally in 12 minutes here in the third quarter. I love the fact that Nate Caddy just stayed alive in the contest. He tracked the ball, he followed it up. Bit of luck. Fortuitously falls into the lap of El Hooley, who was fist pumping and celebrating before he kicked the goal. He's got back-to-back goals. The rain tumbles here at Windy Hill. Game on.
Essendon lead this game for the first time since the 10-minute mark of the opening quarter when they kicked the first 2.
Carlton led by as much as 41 points midway through the second term. That bounce to be recalled. Unbelievable turnaround.
So Don McQuaid goes back into the ruck, who was the igniter for the Blues in the first term.
Jumps over Byzantini. Mark couldn't take it cleanly. Carl. Outstanding responses from Essendon. Some of the most scintillating football we've seen in the VFL this season. 6 goals in 12 minutes. Irresistible. A quite lovely tap down to Carl. Blues now to respond. Conditions, as you can see, getting really difficult. Well done, Lemmy. Tough one for Lambert. Couldn't glove it cleanly. Lemmy gets it back. Puts it on the boot. Monaghan in good position. McMahon at the back. Ramshaw, he's taken down and penalised. All Bombers. Thomas, who was so energetic in that second term. He was a key player in turning things around for them. As Moyer's defensive work gets it to the line, and there's Saad El Hooley.
So Browniers, Lockie Young went to the rooms at halftime with Macca. He spoke about them resetting their contest focus. It's been 20 contested possessions to 8 against them in the third quarter.
Yeah, they've certainly come out with a different mindset, haven't they? Really prepared to hunt after that ball around the stoppages, and lo and behold, they're winning them.
Lual coughed it up. Moyer was there initially. Now it's Lambert kicking it forward to Carl, who can try and kick one against his former side. He gave us a highlight from a stoppage to this end, midway through the first, when the Blues peeled off 7 in a row. They've just had 6 in 11 minutes kicked against them.
Yeah, just 18 disposals in 15 and a half minutes of football. They just have not been able to get their hands on the footy. This is their first mark.
Ned Carl to compose himself. He's 4th in the Bombers, VFL best and fairest back in 2021, of course, spending a couple of seasons on their list and a handful of AFL games to go with it. Gets it done. Carlton back in front. One thing in their favour is they have been efficient inside 50. You referenced it at half-time. Just their 3rd entry of the quarter yields a much-needed goal.
Well, Carl, who's a 40, injected himself a little bit higher up the ground, got involved in a clearance, tracked it back, took that nice mark, and he's a beautiful finisher. So Carlton continue their efficiency in front of goal. So regain the lead.
So, Macca, this rain's going to blow past us, is it?
Yeah, might have jinxed myself a little bit there, boys. Hey, just quickly down here, Archie Roberts has been pulled. He's heading to the G as well as cover. So Jackson Binns and Archie Roberts both cover for tonight's game.
We appreciate you putting your body on the line for the team, Macca. Great job on the boundary line. Prout. Motlop. Davey in there working hard. This contest's gone up another notch. It's been really entertaining. In these conditions, we've had 25 goals. Motlop puts the head down, tries to bust through. Davey takes him down. Ma, stripped of the slippery football. Aquay does his best to not infringe.
Yeah, 9-goal first quarter, 9-goal second quarter, and already 7 goals peeled off in this third. So it's been high scoring and entertaining.
Entertaining way to spend a wintry Sunday afternoon. Sets the table for tonight's blockbuster at the MCG. Off hands of Hayes and Lemmy and out of bounds. We'll go to Essendon Carlton straight after the news at 7 o'clock tonight. What a game that's going to be.
Clay comes off for a well-earned break. Murkov on. Brian clearly winning that ruck battle to start this third quarter.
Blues by 4 points. 7 VFL's match of the day coming to you live from Windy Hill. It was Carlton by 30 points at quarter time, 35 at the half. Essendon 6 goals in 12 minutes to snatch the lead. The Blues have now grabbed it back.
Shallow throw-in. Motlop walked to the line by Xavier O'Neill. Jesse Motlop, his 3rd VFL game back. He's had 13 touches. Second alongside Lockie Young for possessions for the Blues this afternoon. Lewis Young, sorry. Perinato with 17 for the Blues. O'Neill with 20 for the Bombers. Foley has it. Poor wrestling with Marchbank, who's in the drop zone. Wilson was there, took out a divot. Smart got it, walked into the Marchbank tackle. Oh. He is gone. Liam McMahon joins us boundary side. Liam, what's gone against you in this quarter from your perspective?
Yeah, we're just not getting our hands on the footy around the centre clearances. They're beating us inside and just getting it first use, and then they're holding it in well and making us kick long down the line, as you see just there. Yeah, we just need to get our hands on the football and control the game a little bit better.
So, Liam, what do you do as a leader? Who do you go to in those moments to get the ascendancy back?
Yeah, well, we've got leaders across all 3 lines. Like, we've got Sam Durden down there, Lockie Young across the wing, and then myself in the forward line. So we just need to connect after goals and stoppages and continue to keep the energy up.
50-metre penalty against Oscar Smart there for dissent. Liam, really enjoying your season. You've spent time back, you've spent time forward. Are you more a natural forward? Where do you like to play?
Yeah, I think from my form at the start of the season, I definitely think I'm more of a natural forward, but my ability to go down back and help the team out whenever it needs, I think is pretty critical for us. And yeah, I'm hitting the scoreboard at the moment, which I'm happy with.
Sure, your name was on a few AFL clubs' boards for the mid-season rookie draft. How would you go stating the case now about you being a more complete, a more ready AFL footballer than you were in your time at Collingwood?
Yeah, well, I think, I went into the system as a raw 18-year-old and then wasn't really given the chance to develop after my 2 years, and now I think I'm maturing into my body. I'm a lot more physical. I've put on size, and I'm understanding the game a lot more. And yeah, I think I'm a lot more well-round player.
We agree with it. The numbers tell that story too. Get out there and show us some more.
Righto, thank you guys. I appreciate your time.
Liam McMahon joining us. 3 goals in the first half. He kicked 4 in the corresponding fixture last year at Icon Park. You feel like he'll have to be a factor from here if Carlton are going to prevail on a day where that's a stage they enjoyed a 41-point advantage and effectively owned the game from early in the first to half-time. That's all in the past right now after Essendon kicked the opening 6 goals in a withering burst to start this third quarter. Al Hooley with a couple of them, 3 for the afternoon. Fist from Young and Hoare. Phillips bodied by Toma. Lewis Young goes off the ground. He's opposing 33. Davey in pursuit, got the kindest of bounces and then spun the right way for the hand pass. Vicentini went the dish, only as far as Wilson. Phillips patrolling at half back. Monahan was good in flight to halve the contest, but the Bombers' ball. Hayes, Nyko through fingers of Wilson to Lewis, composed as ever to Lockie Young. Through the hands now of Ma. Numbers, though, in Navy. Nelson Got the technique and the hand pass right to find Wilson. Nyko flies on White. He's got a couple to beat. Ball security was the order of the day. Toma piles in. White stayed up initially for the Blues, and a stalemate ensues.
Well, the endeavour's gone right up now for the Blues. They've managed to start to get back in control, get their hands on the footy.
Time on third term, 4-point game. Belies the roller coaster that it's been. Ma touched off his boot. Carl in front. Brodie walked over the line by Ramshaw. Nurkov and Bryan both go to ground. Umpire says play on. Toma pumps out a handball. Wanganeen slams it long towards half forward through the fingers of Vicentini. Wilson's got to be quick. Just got the handball away. Ma past Davey. O'Neill to Haitley. Bounces inside 50. Awkward one here. Lewis tries to kill it. Shield. Davey. El Houli for another one. Yes, sir. Crowd favourite in a real hurry.
I'm loving this man. 4 goals, 3 in a row for Essendon, and he celebrates.
He's embraced it, hasn't he? He's certainly embraced the club. And the Bomber fans are embracing him, and why not? He's fun to watch.
It was great tackle pressure applied by Elwyn Davey, which turned the ball over in the middle of the ground. But I'm loving the mid-season draft. I'm loving Saad El Houli. He's kicked 4 for the afternoon, 3 in a row. He celebrates. He loves being a Don. Have a look at him.
Equals the career high he peeled off in round 7 last year when a bull ant against Box Hill. He's kicked 3 in the third, 4 for the afternoon. The Bombers find themselves back in front again. And the main course in front of 90,000 tonight would want to be tasty, because this is a ripper. Scott to O'Neill, back to Bryan, getting involved in the ball movement. Good use, Wanganeen marks.
We just don't want to over-handball and overuse it in these wet, slippery conditions. You're just inviting trouble if you do that in the back half.
Wanganeen wants Lowell, got a push from McQuay. Carl scoops it up, gives it to McMahon, who's got Lambert out the back. McMahon heads inboard. It's either Nelson or White. Bombers players want it touched. Ball is in the hands of the blue number 77, who's feeling the effects of the contest.
Well, he's kicked a couple as well this afternoon, and Essendon players immediately saying that that ball came off Carlton hands.
Get a look at it in a moment, as you can still see a shower across Windy Hill. White's goals coming at the 10 and 25-minute marks of the first. We won't add to that dose here. So margin a point, 4 lead changes, 3 of them in this quarter.
Wanganeen the kick in. Eckersley the target. Lewis got it to ground. Caddy to tidy it up, and his handball missed Brodie. McMahon, the fends, the give. Now the receive from Lewis. Taps it on. It'll work for Nelson. He'll swing it goalwards. Can Lemmy get there to force a contest? Off hands. Brodie, an awkward one. White lurking. Lowell with the tackle. Umpire says in the back. And the Blues a chance to regain the lead. It'll be Harry Lemmy from directly in front.
So important just to be clean in these wet conditions. A couple of tiny little fumbles from Essendon players.
Harry Lemmy for his 2nd of the afternoon and his 5th of the season. The young tall steps around and puts Carlton back in front.
He's been good, and McMahon has been the main forward, but it's just good to have the big foil up there as well, just to crash the packs, 201 centimetres, and to be able to hit the scoreboard as well this afternoon, been really important. 3 for McMahon, 3 for Lemmy, couple for Carl. The usual suspects all chiming in. And we see another lead change.
A couple for White as well, a couple for Motlop, so they've shared the load for the Bombers. El Hooley's kicked 4, 2 to Caddy, 2 to Jaden Davey, and then a couple of singles amongst it as well. 27 goals in these conditions, 27-9. Finishing has been outstanding. It has been a high-quality game for 19th playing 21st.
23 AFL listed players in action. Some VFL listed types who've been exemplary. This man included. Ma, brilliant job head-to-head against Shield with his 200 AFL games of experience. McMahon through the fingertips. Wiedemann couldn't get it as he flew to ground. Brian's been excellent in general play in the quarter. Foley to Nyko, and now Smart connects. Essendon trying to continue their run of answering back the Blues. Marchbank puts a stop to that with the intercept on Will Hoare, who's been shifted forward since, doing plenty of work in defence in the first quarter. Brian with the intercept. Not the best effort, either the kick or the marking attempt from Scott, who was done cold with one arm free and no means to dispose of it. Ferronato set to have his 19th touch of the afternoon. Can Carlton find back-to-back goals? McMahon flew. Lemmy already got a couple, stripped by Hayes, who almost got into his back too. Motlop lurking. It came free to him. He misses right.
2-1 for Jesse Motlop this afternoon. Blues by a straight kick as we approach the 29-minute mark of the third term. 7 VFLs, match of the day. Essendon and Carlton at Windy Hill. Foley with the kick in.
Great grab.
Durden with the intercept mark.
Good strong hands with the wet ball.
Lemmy offered a lead. He's going to look to go deep. McMahon. Hayes got rid of him and Wiedemann took the mark. Straight up the middle of the wall. We'll go to the city side of the ground and find Brian, who's got a runner. It's Haitley. Haitley's chip kick is good for El Hooley, who's lit Windy Hill up in this third term with 3 goals. Durden over the top was important. If it got to the back, Davey was waiting.
Yeah, really good strong fist there. Left hand towards the boundary. That's exactly what you want your defenders to do. A soft drop there and Davey would have been all over that.
Incredible turnaround. Carlton by 41 points midway through the second term. They led by 35 at the half. Essendon peeling off 6 goals in 12 minutes. In one of the most spectacular starts to a quarter you could ever want to see.
Very little separating the teams coming in. 1 game and 0.5%. It's playing out that way in the contest. Brian with a fling at it. Wilson clears, but it was a blast kick that Llewell will feast on. To Foley. Where's the channel to goal? Little duck lead comes from Jaden Davey. Foley off the instep.
Terrible kick.
Prout marks. Can they click into gear with Essendon's defence not really set up here? Lambert receives through the hands of Young, who has to go out of the air on the half volley. That'll be to the advantage of Haitley. Back to Llewell. Handball will cause Foley some problems. Just got a boot to it in the end. Good tackle from McMahon. Wilson with the right. No. One for the cricket nets.
Might need a new footy.
It's dropped through, fortunately.
The rain continues to fall. Time on third term.
Physio jumps the fence, gets the footy back. Sam Wiedemann will have it. We've gone 31 minutes in this third term. Blues by a straight kick. This game has had everything. Both sides have had scintillating patches, and now we've got a tight game. Great way to spend an afternoon. Shields kick inside 50, really tough one for Durden. Both the Davies are lurking. That's enough to make any defender nervous.
Yeah, dirty ball inside the forward 50, bouncing, slippery, wet. Not what you want as a defender.
Young will do the ruck work against Bryan, who wins it. Hoists it high. Aquay got it to ground, past Ma. Aquay again taken down, play on the call. Phillips to Ferronato, who's been excellent. To the middle of the ground, smart mark from Carl, turns around, sets his run as a task. Wiedemann versus Lemmy.
Oh!
They slide in, they hit it hard.
What a contest.
And Lemmy's won a free kick. Advantage will be paid. McMahon into an open goal, and the Blues lead by 2. Be interested to have a look at this one on the Crown replay. It's such a fine line these days with contact below the knees, plays sliding in.
Yep.
Be very interested to get your thoughts, Brownie.
Well,
Harry Lemmy committed the body, as did Sam Wiedemann.
Yeah, and it was a really smart kick from Carl, who identified all that dangerous space. That's just a really strong contest.
So often talk about the player going to ground, being in the dangerous position given the other player's legs, which was effectively the role that Lemmy assumed by going to ground then.
He's put himself in danger, and Sam Wiedemann just kept his feet. That seems like a harsh free kick to me.
Yeah, it was. And he's carrying that right shoulder a little bit too, so suggests that most of the contact was to that right shoulder and no head contact. So advantage paid goal. And they'll assess.
If you're trying to prevent players or discourage them from putting themselves in danger, you don't reward that, do you?
No, you got to keep your feet.
4 goals for Liam McMahon. Blues lead by 2.
As he did on the King's birthday Sunday last year, the former Pie. And Carlton all of a sudden have kicked 3 of the last 4 and have steadied somewhat. El Hooley against the chalk. O'Neill gave it to Bryan. What a term he's having. Evasive action on show. Dirted in the right spot, elected to punch rather than mark. So for all of the electric play that Essendon put on show in the opening 12 minutes, 3 goals to 1 since. Carl's second, Lemmy's second, and then McMahon's 4th. After Saad El Hooley kicked his 2nd, 3rd and 4th of the day for the Bombers in a flurry. Peris, part of the goal action in turn 3. Got it back from O'Neill. Kicks through the hands of Murkov, wide for Smart. Marchbank will see it out.
Sometimes there's an element of umpires paying a free kick because it is big contact. It looks bad, rather than there actually being an infringement or a player that's got them higher. I think that was the case certainly there with Lemmy and Wiedemann.
He's getting treatment on the bench. More from Macca in a moment. Rain looks to have eased. Nyko. The Bombers pinch one back here. Scott, a floater inside 50, was touched off his boot. Marchbank couldn't control it. Smart did. But Moya in best position. Quiet day for him, just his 6th touch. Blues want to be precise here. Got themselves back out to a 2-goal lead, having stabilised the situation. Just a blistering passage of football from the Bombers. Thrilling to watch. Sam Durden. High kick. McMahon looks to do the body work. Hayes over the top. And McMahon, another 4 goals this afternoon. He's just become a linchpin of this front half for the Carlton VFL team. Ben Crocker returned to Collingwood this year. He's been their main focal point for the last couple of years, and Liam McMahon has stepped up superbly.
A few of the Blues hierarchy that will be involved tonight in an off-field capacity. Andrew Russell, Andrew Greaves, the coaching and performance manager, watching on, as is Cooper Lord, their mid-season rookie draft selection, who was originally in the 23 to make his Carlton VFL debut today after being picked up from North Melbourne in the Sandringham Dragons. He was just a bit sore from the first full week of training, so we'll wait for his first game after the bye. Lewis Young. Nyko looking for it. And that ends a topsy-turvy 3rd term. Essendon trailed by 35 points at the half. They kick 6.
Oh, yes. Every quarter so far, they've got one in the first 30 seconds. Murkov wins the tap this time. First onto it should be O'Neill. Spins away. Handball was in the Phillips direction. Motlop hoisted high, and the Blues will get the first inside 50. Only momentarily, Wanganeen underneath it.
Not happy with his kick, his Tex. Skids away from Llewellyn and across the line.
A wet, slippery ball if you're going to err, or on the side of the boundary. No damage done there for Wanganeen. Especially to start this quarter. You don't want to be biting off too much through the corridor when you're down by 2 goals. Can't afford to concede the first.
Bryan took command with the front spot. Toma lost the legs. Moya came out in the tackle. Toma on his return from a groin injury. Touches this afternoon. Spin cycle between Bryan and Murkov. He could have flipped a coin for the free kick. Goes the way of the Blue. 8th in the league for hit-outs in the VFL this season. Caresses it into the pocket. Young shifted forward as he was at the same time last Sunday as we head downstairs to Macca.
Come back to Macca in a moment.
He kicked a goal and set up a couple of others. Lewis Young last week. That was when they needed goals desperately. Here, they're in front.
Look off the tap. Motlop smothered off his boot. Well done, Shield. Lockie Young gets it and goes. He'll attack the goal square. McMahon turns. Well done, Wiedemann kept his eyes on it. Didn't complete the mark. Got a free kick. Back to you, Macca.
Harry Lemmy is set to come back on. He was shaking that right elbow that took most of the brunt of that Samuel Wiedemann bump. As you mentioned, Lewis Young gone forward as he did last week. It's going to be a cracking finish, I think.
The weather looks to have cleared a bit, Macca. It's certainly lightened up a little.
It has lightened up quite a lot. There's a bit of sunshine, whether can you believe it or not, a bit of blue sky, but still very greasy down here, but no rain.
Davey, chip kick to Caddy, who's had some great moments this afternoon.
Yeah, got a good work rate too, Nate Caddy. Happy to work nice and high up the ground and give his defenders that option on the wing.
It's going to be an exciting prospect, isn't he, for the Bombers over the next 10 years or more. Toma beat the first tackler, couldn't beat the second. Ball spills free. Haitley inside 50. Moya, Aquay comes over the top. Motlop there. Here's El Hooley spinning through Davey to Davey. Little chip kick is perfect for Llewell. And a chance for the Bombers to halve their deficit and get back within a kick.
Yeah, been a little bit unreliable by foot this afternoon, Llewell, coming out of the back half, but hopefully in front of goals he's more accurate. Blood rule.
White bleeding from the nose and mouth. Makes his way to the bench. So Llewellyn Llewell a chance to kick his first VFL goal as White comes off and Bailey Lambert replaces him. 10th VFL game for Llewellyn this afternoon. A chance to kick his first VFL goal, and it'll be a timely one to make it a one-kick game. 45 out, slide angle. Hits the instep, misses the lot.
And plenty of footy this afternoon. Done some nice things defensively. Just let himself down with his disposal efficiency.
17 touches is a couple ahead of what his seasonal average has been. Lambert in from the sides. Lewis Young tried to trap it by foot. Lambert, Shield over the top and into his back. Got a Quay on the 45 back. It's opened up inside. Wilson sold a lemon. Here's Hoare to Caddy, who can sense the moment with the sidestep. Runs his full term. Oh, he is good. You can just picture that getting extrapolated out over the next 10 or 15 years. He's doing it in front of 900 this afternoon. He'll do it in front of 90,000 in due course. Nate Caddy with 3.
Nearly ran his full measure too. I wouldn't have wanted him to take another couple of steps.
Here's the turnover on the Chemist Warehouse replay that opened the door for Caddy's third. We want to get the step count out.
He took a few. This little balk here, and he steadies himself. Nice finish. Didn't try and overkick the footy, and you just wait till he puts on another 10 kilos if he's taking marks, contested marks like we've seen this afternoon. He's going to be a hard man to stop.
13 if you're curious. Steps, that is. That'll be a recalled bounce. No, well,
Oh, no.
should have been. Away comes Young. Can the Blues capitalise? Inside 50, well done, Wiedemann. Great hands.
Been good down back, hasn't he, this afternoon?
A searching kick off the fingertips of Ma. Bombers looking good here. Bryant. Young runs him down. Kick will still work for El Houli. Low kick inside 50 is perfect for Vicentini, and this to tie things up.
Hasn't been a great afternoon for a big man, but he's only had the one disposal. But this could be a really important part of this game. Again, El Houli with just penetrating leg. He's just about the best man on the ground.
Vigo Vicentini. 18-year-olds come through Brighton Beach. Xavier and Sandy under 18s to tie things up once again. He'll kick from right on 50. He's not going to get there. And that's a good, strong grab by Marchbank. Lambert, who's going to be a bit nervous, given the turnover.
I think this should just go long down the line, Jace. There'll be no changing angles or changing his mind the last minute. There you go.
Goes by hand. Your poker playing abilities continue. Away. Well done again from Brian, although Lemmy was held by Wiedemann. So can they turn the Essendon defence around now? Lemmy with the barrel again. Not set up for it this time, though, the Blues. And the Bombers might be able to run it back at them. Pressure comes from Nelson on Haitley. Nowhere to go. Umpire says, ball it up.
Harry Lemmy clearly has the licence, so to speak, but is well aware of his capabilities to hit that kick consistently.
He hits them well, doesn't he? It'd be a really tough ball coming in as a defender to try and read. So even though it didn't have the same result as the first one, still dangerous.
Haitley unattended. Dish to it, O'Neill. Aquay versus Hoare. Dom with the supreme recovery. Hoare in pursuit. Prout stuck in the tackle by Peris. Lewis, as always, a supreme decision maker to find Motlop. Oh, put it over Carl to White to Moyer on his left. And the tackle was spot on from Peris to generate the turnover for Scott, who's got Eckersley on the switch. He'll send things to the Bowls Club side, and Brody heads centrally. Proud again with another intercept.
Bombers with all the momentum in this final term. 29-18, but Carlton with the opportunity now through McMahon.
He's lining
Bring
up
it back to a 2-goal lead.
So 3 last week, lining up for 5 this afternoon, and Frosty Miller medal absolutely in his sights this year.
So again, we're seeing Essendon having the weight of possession, but Carlton's efficiency going forward. They've just been able to get goals at critical times, even when the momentum's been against them.
And that's because they've been able to turn the ball over forward of centre. Again, another kick, dangerous coming through the corridor. Prout reads it much better, and they have all this space and time to work with.
Liam McMahon for goal number 5. Geez, hit that well.
Exquisite.
5 for Liam. Blues back up by 2. We've seen some great finishing from both teams today. 30 goals, 10 in these conditions, in any conditions, is great.
Yes, it's been a hell of a game.
On the Chemist Warehouse replay, Liam McMahon getting the job done again, his 5th goal. We've seen some great finishing today, Brownie. 30-10 in any conditions is great going, but let alone today.
Yeah, the accuracy has been a credit to both sides, taking their chances. And McMahon, only 22 years of age. Sometimes players deserve second chances once they mature into their bodies. We saw Brody Mychek not get his first chance till he was 25. And look at the career he went on to have.
It's just logical, isn't it? He's only going to be, as Nudge said when he chatted to him, he's only going to be a better player now than he was 4 years ago.
Of course.
Yeah, physical development crucial for a player of his size. Oh, marks despite close efforts from Lewis, and this can bring it back immediately to 1 goal. So McMahon with a career high 5 this afternoon, and remember that draft class of 2020, they didn't get any footy in that year in Victoria, and then he only had a handful of VFL games available to him in 2021.
Very hard to develop your game when there's no football.
So Will Hoare, who started the day in defence, he's top 10 in the league for intercept marks, but again, a swingman option for Blake Carasella, 2 behinds last week. And that miss makes it 11 points, but still ample time as we break through 11 minutes.
Wilson to Durden. Oh, it's been a thoroughly entertaining 7 VFL match of the day. Still 20-odd minutes to enjoy. High ball from Durden. Young will fly. Will get over the back. Lowell coming through is Lambert. Got it to the line. Healthy crowd in. They've enjoyed a great contest. Wouldn't know by watching this game. It's 19th versus 21st. It's been high-quality football from both teams. Spoken about their finishing. Both have shown a capacity to really do some damage on the scoreboard when they get on top, which in a sense also speaks about the defences of both teams and their inability to stop teams when they get on a roll.
This boundary umpire consistently throws the ball in a little bit short, so it's up to these ruckmen to adjust here.
Now back a very long way. And once again, Brownie, you're right.
That's on the players to identify that.
A fend off, got rid of Scott, but put Wilson under pressure in the process. Moy's going to have to go again. Brian's worked hard all day. Lockie Young just dropped into the hole. Read that well. Now wants to switch.
Oh.
Jed's been dangerous. It's going to cost them again.
And this man's going to line up for his 5th as well. So Saad Al-Houli, who kicked 3 in that 3rd term, he read that beautifully. And Lockie Young just biting off a little bit too much. Didn't have to play on quickly across the face of goal. Rush of blood.
Oh, that was a really awkward landing. You could see him just grab at that shin as the foot got twisted in the turf.
He'll be fine. When you're having a shot on goal for your 5th, Jace, you don't feel things as much.
Already seen his love of a celebration.
Huge game, this, from a winger.
His 2nd game in the red and black. 45 out to get him back within a kick, and he really has hurt. What were you saying? Sorry, Dr. Brown?
Yeah, well, he got up to take the kick. I'm not going to say he's not hurt, but he might be a bit more hurt now. He's hopping to the bench.
Leave it to the network's other Dr. C. Brown, please, Campbell. Scotch College education and all. Margin 10 points. Saad Al-Houli is the highest ranked player on the ground. Turnover for the Bombers. Wanganeen. Hoare flew as Young tried to knock it out.
There's no one in the goal square too if he wants to go quickly.
Won't try and skid it through. Into the pocket. Smart. 2 Blues compress him. Eckersley on the bounce, lost his footing just as the goals loomed. And there's Saad Al-Houli being walked to the bench.
This is the injury.
Watch the landing on the right.
Oh, yeah, look at
It's a
that.
tweak. Yeah, it's a
Tweak at
tweak.
the left.
Just had his right foot at that 45-degree angle that opened him up to something. We'll get an update from Macca shortly. Again, a shallow throw in.
Okay, so that's where the umpires should just use some common sense and get the ball thrown back in.
Scott read the cues beautifully. Murkov telegraphed it like the telegraph pole he is.
The ball was 15 metres thrown in too short. I know that if you're not the nominated ruckman, you shouldn't touch it, but a bit of common sense there in an important stage of the game, an important part of the ground.
Bailey Scott's only VFL goal came in the Bombers' last win when they defeated North by 51 points back in round 8 to make it 4 points. This game's the gift that keeps on giving.
as is Carlton's ball use in the defensive 50.
Yeah, they just
It's 3
gifts,
now.
gifts. Got away with the last one. Not on that occasion.
Essendon have kicked 2-1 in the last quarter. 2-2 in the last quarter, 2-1 of them from turnovers.
The Chemist Warehouse, Essendon just getting handed the ball back due to horrendous skill errors. They dodged the bullet with Sardell Hooley missing, and not on that occasion. Bailey Scott right through the middle. Back to 4 points.
Speaking of Sardell Hooley, what's the latest, Macca?
They're looking at a left ankle. Interesting, he didn't have it strapped. Most players have him strapped anyway, but they'll likely re-strap it. Hopefully they can get him back out there. It just got caught under him, that left ankle, as Dylan Shield goes down behind the players.
Grabbing at his wrist or shoulder. That's a great mark again from Wiedemann. She's been good late in this game.
Been massive. Those intercept marks are just so crucial on the last line. He's taken 3 of them.
Brodie to Wanganeen, to Toma. Good link here from the Bombers. Davey bounces it down the line to Smart. A slight fumble. Marchbank can close him down. So Dylan Shield back up. Zentini against Murkov, but Murkov's tap went straight to a cluster of Bombers. Thomas kick inside 50. Marchbank went back. Aquay. They need to be slick here, the Blues. Wilson, Moya, Paris, high one. Lewis versus Smart, and the boundary line wins.
He got a bit lucky there, Dom Aquay, I think. Just as Hall was about to set his feet and jump, he got a little nudge in the back and was worked under the footy. I've seen less contact paid.
It's a 4-point lead to the Blues as we approach time on in the final term. Chance for the Bombers here. They're ratcheting up the pressure. Murkov back towards the line. Ma versus Davey. Shield, the fend. Not quite. Oh, Moya doesn't go the required journey. And the Blues desperate for an exit mark. Monahan can't grab one. Good pressure there from Nyko. And the Bombers are just keeping the pressure on this Carlton defence.
Yeah, just keep locking that ball inside your forward half, getting stoppages, keep the pressure building on the Blues.
So the Blues, after relinquishing the lead,
The Rucks are far too far back.
in the third quarter, have held it since the 26-minute mark of the third. A deeper throw-in on that occasion. Carl, Paris with pressure. Lewis, well marked by Brodie. Kicks it over the head of White. Jaden Davey marks.
Got Scott on.
Has kicked a couple, missed Scott, who presents. No Bombers there. Aquay coughs it up though. Toma walks straight into the Lewis tackle.
Carlton are doing their absolute best on the last line to give the ball back to the Bombers. They've just been a little bit fumbly as well.
So high-scoring game's really tightened up. It's 2-1 in the final term. We've played 18.5 minutes. To the wing, Wanganeen. Hunted by 3 Blues. Carl in there. Clear shove in the back. Gives away the free kick to Xavier O'Neill. We go short to Scott. The run. Wanganeen, lovely step. Gets past Ferrinato. Runs to 52. Unloads! What a goal! Bombers in front!
Magnificent football here. Some run and carry through the corridor. And as soon as he stepped in Wanganeen, you knew that he had his eyes lined up for the goals. Classy finish.
Not good signs for Sardell Hawley-Macca.
Ice is on that left ankle, so he'll be done for the day. So disappointing. He's been electric today, but they're going to have to do it without him.
25 last week in his first game for the Dons. 27 and 4-1 today. Let's hope there's no injury that will see him out of action. So the Bombers lead this match for the first time since time on in the third. Our 6th lead change of the day. As Eckersley trots away. Aquay will be the free fly. Caddy got up, came down. Paris, it just gets away from Jaden Davey, but the Bombers fans who are still on the terraces in the left forward pocket, hoping that this can set the table for their side at the MCG tonight. Jackson Binns and Archie Roberts will put on ice by their respective teams a bit earlier on this afternoon after playing a half each. They're the carryovers ahead of tonight's AFL clash, the first between the brothers Mackay. Ma, outstretched hand, Wilson. Where's one from Dylan Shield, who kicked the first goal of the game 21 seconds in. He was pretty quiet for the first and a fair portion of the second. He's got better as the day's gone on. 16 touches. And that major, the sum total of his day so far.
We've played 21.5 minutes. Bombers by 2 points. Lewis Young taking a turn in the ruck against Bryan. Ramshaw pops a handball, but it's straight to Nyko. He was clipped high by Ma. He's frustrated. Here's another look. Well done by McMahon. Got across in the wall, but then put his head down and taken down and gone as a result.
As soon as you drop that head and drive it through your opponent, you're in trouble. That's prior intent.
Well, steps McMahon to a big pack. Marchbank versus Caddy in the air. Caddy still fights on, tries to find his boot. Durden, pressure on Carlton's defence here. Comes to Smart. He's ripped off the football. It's still alive. Wilson. Carlton just hanging in at the moment. It has been all Essendon.
If you're Elwyn Davey, Jaden Davey and Oscar Smart, you just love getting to the feet of Nate Caddy. He flies for everything.
Guns tap. Ramshaw put some pressure on Toma. Monahan. Little give was clever. Carl just needs to take some territory. This could work for Lemmy.
Barrel.
Up. He's got no one. He's got Luke Nelson, who is sprinting forward. Has some options. Just decides to pop it over the top, and he's given Luke Nelson a high ball against one of the tallest men on the ground.
Well, he had about 8 seconds with ball in hand. He could have just kicked it to space. Could have kicked it off the line and let a player run onto it. Instead, that high ball was not suited.
Hayes can locate Eckersley, who does the same to O'Neill. Carlton needing to round up on transition. Wiedemann points out the mark from Motlop. He's careful to avoid the passing Blues and find Foley. Carlton trying to break their run of outs at 6. Their sole win for the season, Port Melbourne in round 4. And they've lost 3 games by less than a kick. Scott. Aquay. Surely had enough of that. Marchbank pleads the case from close proximity. Got the launch off his teammate in Sam Durden. So he hit 24 minutes in the last. The Bombers by 2 points.
Young out of the ruck. Back to the wing. Lemmy versus Wiedemann.
Too easy there for Wiedemann. He's been massive in this last term. That's his 4th intercept mark.
A half forward. Motlop tries to come across. Toma takes the grab. Runs to 48 metres towards the top of the square. 2 on 2. Lewis the punch. Caddy couldn't control it. Picks it up on the deck. High kick. Straight up in the air. They'll come from all sides. Monahan. Phillips needs to find an exit. Carl, can he touch it?
Oh,
Almost marked it.
yeah.
Not paid. Throw in.
So Essendon have got a +1, and that's Lewis Hayes playing as a spare behind the footy here.
And a fair piece of it. Umpire said it was jarred loose. Essendon's relentless, sustained pressure in this final term has been impressive. The Blues just have not been able to get it in their front half.
So if you're Carlton, you need to round him up. You do not want to spare Essendon defender inside your forward 50.
Phillips to Ma, to Moyer. So they'll have the numerical advantage down the line. It might not even get there, though. Eckersley intercepts. Nyko steps Ramshaw back to Eckersley. Ma sticks the tackle. He's set the tone for his team today.
Still plenty of time. He's just panicking a fraction with ball in hand, the Blues.
Hayes still the spare down the line. Can they get around him? Young leaps off Paris to take the mark. They will get around Hayes here. Young to Phillips.
There's the man. That
There
is the
Hayes
spare.
now.
Kicked it straight to him.
But his handball was poor. Phillips into grass. Wilson, and his back was Haitley.
So they need to round him up.
So who's the spare for the Blues, Brownie, who's got to work their way forward and do exactly that task?
I've been
There's
looking
spares at the stoppage.
Yeah, they've got the spare at the stoppage here.
Billy Wilson hanging off the back of the stoppage.
They'd lose the stoppage.
Young. Phillips. Flips it back inside. Farinado to the outside. A slip from Lewis.
Look at the second effort from Davey. Well,
Paris.
it is. Great effort. Davey comes across to help him up. They've been manic.
On the spare conversation, Lockie Young as captain, can he not be the guy who identifies it and works his way
Well,
forward?
someone has to, because you're just playing into Essendon's hands right now. You want to equalise the numbers. You can't have your numerical advantage inside your forward 50 when you're 2 points down.
Could have been kicking in danger on Motlop, who almost lost a finger or two. Finds the football, though, then gets crunched. Desperate.
So the runner needs to come out. I think that they are now. Carlton's runner is coming out and telling it's Lockie Young.
He's now, yeah, he's going forward.
Who's spat forward,
Yep.
and he's going to man him up.
Well spotted, Brownie. And great coaching from the Blues to do exactly the same
Well,
thing.
it's about a minute and a half too late.
Haitley, Prout, and Shield stand up in the tackle.
So at least now they've got 5v5 inside the forward 50.
So we've got one-on-ones pretty much all over the ground. Billy Wilson makes the play. The inside 50, Bombers should kill this. Oh, a fumble from Wanganeen. They've got numbers. Wiedemann, Hayes.
Big ball.
High kick. Young versus Bryan.
Every ball is
Farinado.
massive right now. 27 minutes gone. You got to think as a player, every single contest could be the match winner.
3-2 to a goal in the last quarter in favour of the home sides. Carl lurking after formerly wearing the sash in the pocket on the right. It's on the roof.
Well, you know here as a player with absolute certainty that they're not going to take any risks, Essendon, out of the back pocket. So, kick's going to be nice and safe, long down the line. Got to make sure you have aerial representation.
Wanganeen put them in front. He'll try and drive them forward again. Quay! Oh, almost. Phillips missed Marsh. Shield. Half volley from O'Neill. Scott, Thomas under pressure. Where are the Blues now? It's Wilson versus Caddy. There's a 2-on-2 ahead of this. It comes to Lewis. Hand in from the well. Slap Lewis. Little nudge on Alwyn Davey, or from Alwyn Davey to Wilson, was pivotal. Kick off the line to
well
Lowell
done.
was clever from
An
Haitley.
exceptional contest too from Nate Caddy. Geez, he dug in to just create.
And that mark now allows Essendon to get some numbers forward and get into position and structure up behind the ball as well.
Yeah, they can just take some time off the clock. They've already gone backwards. You got to scream out here if you're a Blue, man on man. Find one.
Foley will go long towards the line. That's the smart percentage play to force another stoppage.
So this is what you train. Every single time you're at training, in front by 2 points, 30 seconds on the clock, 90 seconds, stoppage on the half-forward flank. Get some numbers around. You don't want a big slap into space here if you're Bryan.
It's been a really professional final term from the Bombers so far. They've managed this game well. Still there to be won. And this might be the moment. O'Neill, 45 out, chips it, dangerous spot. Quay just gets there. Durden taken down, the tackle by Thomas. No Pryor.
Oh, that had to stick, that tackle, otherwise they were coming straight back through the corridor, the Blues.
25 metres out from the Essendon goal. We've played 30 minutes final term. Carlton looking for their second win of the season.
Smart to a spare man in Toma on the right. He misses and there's hands on his head.
So straight up the middle here, no messing around. Dom McQuaid, get it, run your full measure and drive it up the middle.
Look at them all. They're playing the old huddle.
It's Robert Walls has got out the Magna board here. Blake Carosella, not much he can do right now as a coach. Wiedemann to the back. Haitley. Bryan. Moyer from 41 points down. The Bombers take the scalp of another rival in the VFL this year. They've got the Blues, the Roos and the Pies. Essendon in a beauty on the King's birthday Sunday by 3 points.